Julie with J of Cree Freedom, and I want to give the Lord credit today for blessing me with his words and appointing them this day over the nations and the kingdoms of the earth, if they so choose to listen, to uproot and break down, to destroy and to overthrow, to build and to plant. Okay, today the words are I'll do a couple small excerpts after the word, but the word was received on June 30th, and there's a huge portion for y'all, and the Lord let me know it's gonna be swerving more towards y'all as the audience online. After things change in my life, then it will not be so necessary to have any updates really, and at that point then this channel can really be more focused on y'all, so just something to look forward to, I suppose, for you. And this word, it does begin with some very specific information about NATO and the sun and World War III, and then it will switch into an update on me, and then the excerpts that I try to give y'all excerpts that are practical or have to do with what's going on in the world. So those will be, I will try to label them that way you can skip the update if you want, because that's pretty much what the end of the Rhema from today is. Alright, I can't share everything that he said in this sentence, but basically he said that we will be watching the NATO guns get ready and get locked and loaded for war in Europe. And then that will kind of blow the water out of the green energy stuff that's going on in Austria, at least. Austria is one of the top countries as far as green energy goes. They have a lot of solar panels being installed. So it was saying basically that those billions of euros that have been spent on the green energy has pretty much gone to waste. It will go to waste with the onset of World War III, because obviously we will be needing sunlight and for some of that stuff. And yeah, then he goes into specifics of how the light will be affected. Okay, so here I can start talking. He said, "The sun is about to wear out and give out some strange lights, dear one. And yeah, sweetheart, with World War III on top of it all, it will affect the light. And then also, with World War III on top of it all, climate change. How the Christians will hate hearing that phrase, but it's true, dear ones. Your precious world is changing, dear one. So let's just think of it in those terms and stop going off on everyone's A words for saying such shiza in your view, dear ones. No, dear ones, dear to me anyway, for listening to and sticking with her channel. The world is changing. And clean, everybody. She's cleaning up her online act with each and every Can I Say This, Lord video. So slack, people. Cut her some, yes, more needed from your quarters, my dudes of the hour, slack, for not blabbing her big fat mouth in past times like she used to. Done, dear ones. That's all done and over with, dear ones, for her anyway, for this lifetime anyway, dear ones. And yes, everyone, including those who scoffed at her silly to post it in your view comment about the next life. It's true, my sons and daughters of this late humanity hour. Next, dear ones, it'll all come out in the next life, dear ones. Your lives too, sweethearts. Whether you were a sweetheart like her or no. Tries to be, anyway. She's really working hard on that punkt at this time. And scary, my dudes and dudettes of the hour, and scary, dear ones, yes, and wie. Und wie. So scary for her she's scared shizeless to wear her heart on her sleeve in her view, and yet go for the gold, be sweet to everyone she meets in this sick and yes, filled with very rude people. Think Kim Kardashian, yes, loud-mouthed at the same time. B-wordy types of women love to gossip on her, out loud at how she's raising her children, not raising them well enough in their view. Letting her silly at times, it's true, dear ones. Kids can be silly, can't they, dear ones? Begging Mama to please, Mom, let me run around without shoes today on the dirty as hell sidewalk streets of Vienna. And does she, or doesn't she? She does, dear ones, long to try to fulfill her children's every whim, if it won't cause any real harm to others. Not, dear ones. She's causing no harm to anyone at this point in her life, babes, and the real reason I am reveals to the online judgy as hell why her audience today, dear ones. Running. Could be my sons and daughters in the faith. This dear gal is in the running for some seriously delayed for her floundering ego's sake in this hour, but whew, boy howdy, are they coming. Rewards. Chicks, dudes, dudettes, and yeah, babes, some little chicklets still to be made in her hot bod. Not so hot much longer, my loves, what with her thorn in the flesh situation going full swing, but does he doesn't know, my loves, what's up, buttercup, with this little filly. And here the Lord laughs. Thinks he could maybe... Okay, there were two sentences here. He thinks he could be married to me for another 40 years. And then the other sentence, he thinks he could be, maybe we'll see, and soon if she's future wifey material. Done, everyone. Her hand is done for the day, dudes. Keep it 100 with your thoughts. And yeah, babes. Here is your sweet chance today to hear an example of how I am that I am. Closes a sweet to her always, aren't I? Word out with this little large-chested filly. But does she, or doesn't she, dear ones, have a rather naive, childlike, innocent heart beating behind that hot, sweet, and sexy all at the same time, come and get me, boy, exterior? It is a does, dear ones, and the real reason I am chooses her for service and does not exclude her for her exterior, as others have done to her pretty much her whole life. And why, dear ones? Why can a sexy, well-endowed woman not stand up on a church's judgy stage and give her testimony? Look at what my God has done in my life. All because she's just too hot to handle, too hot to look at. Ridiculous, dear ones, the judgment the so-called true church throws over a woman at times, just for, you can bet your sweet bippy on this one, dear Chris. Yeah, everybody. Just for being sweet, sexy, my husband abuses me, emotionally speaking. Someone come save me. Not physically, dudes, calm down. Not yet, anyway. Won't let it escalate to that level for her, dudes, so no worries. No need to show up to Vienna, pie in hand, ready to slam it into. Okay, here he said I could share his real name. His true name, dear ones, not so dear to her, Mad Max, the half-Austrian, half-German berserker, dear ones, in the worstest way possible, dear ones. Going in on her, for the most minuscule Scheisse, trespasses on his wallet. How dare you B-word, go buy food for yourself, take yourself out all alone by yourself for a... Yes, dear ones, drinking is totally fine and allowed, sweethearts, when done in moderation. He didn't finish that sentence, but I took myself out this week for some Mexican food, authentic Mexican, not Tex-Mex, authentic, and a margarita. And he has a policy that I have to show him all the receipts, so I had to show him the receipt, and he, of course, knew what I had done that day. Love you all a big one, dear ones. He means a hug here. Be mine someday for Valentine's Day if you're not already, dear ones. And here he winks. Love, 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 the Father, Son, and Messiah Jesu, all at the same time, of course. Your local Holy Spirit, and here he winked. Love you all, babes. Keep it 100 miteinander, dear ones. And that was the end of that word. All right. Okay, so this Rhema is from June, the June notebook. In the very end, he described the world as a trash heap. So it was kind of another play on words about all the fires going on. Yeah, it kind of made sense to me. It's like, could perceive a little bit as the Lord was speaking how dirty the earth is and how it really needs to be cleaned up. It's like everything has to burn and then the new growth can start. If you're from the country, you know about that actually fires can be a good thing. But they don't ever talk about that on the news, obviously. So that was kind of the impression I got. Like the Lord has to let it burn and let it all be burned down, and then he can make something new. So it says, yes, dear one. Oh, it says, love you all a big one. Yes, dear ones, hugs all around. For the trash heap is ready to burn, my babes of the hour. Yes, dear ones, the world und wie. It's time and finally for a big turnaround of things. and my son Yeshua to swoop in for all time, scoop you up in his strong arms, and kiss you, yes, dear one. And then at the end he said, ciao, ciao, Bellas. And he meant a kiss on the cheek, of course. Alright, this one is from the same word. He said something about lessons learned with the great I am in the last days. For final hunts, it's finally all coming to a close, dear ones, near you or around you. This life, the satanic bullies, their bully status, all gone and done with for literally, yes, dear ones, all time. Love, Huns, it's what awaits you. Okay, that was that excerpt. This is from the Rhema. Okay, so he was telling me not to be worried about spending Max's money on the stash. And he said, not too much longer, dear one, and you'll be shiza out of luck. Find yourselves in a cashless, I need the mark to buy and sell trades, my Huns of the hour. You'll have to be doing some slick as hell at that time for sure. Trade deals with the neighbors. And then he said, I need to be careful about the neighbors. But no, dear ones, and careful who you associate with, share info with. And he said that some people will try to pull tricks on us if they can at that time. And the Lord warned that it's a time to be very shrewd. Okay, it says, be as shrewd as they come, dear one, when it comes to getting and collecting your terrible supplies, not so terrible, hun, at times, to realize what you may have missed in this gathering nuts like a squirrel season. So what, hun? You'll be relying on me to supply all your needs, as one of my sweet-to-do-so creations in the woods has to do, hoping and longing for their next meal under this rock, but no, in this tree, maybe. Love it, hun. I will love watching the two of you operating in so much faith together. And then, helping you reach spiritual heights you didn't know that you could in this life. Okay, and that's even if you have single status. The Lord will be taking some of us to those places where some of those people in the faith have been highly honored for selling all their stuff and operating with no real monthly income that they can count on, praying for the next meal type of stuff. So some of us will be experiencing that kind of Christian life. All right. This one is also maybe stepping on some toes, but I did want to go ahead and share it. And it's kind of sad actually that even so-called Christian people could be deceived in this way. But it is something I had to go through in the fall, which was just having faith that the voice that's coming into my mind is the Lord's. And I wanted to share this because it is interesting to me how the Lord describes my father. I did hint in the memoir that my father has some mental problems. And here the Lord reveals he has multiple voices in his mind. But I'm mentioning it because when the Lord speaks to me, and I hope this is the case for everyone who is a Christian listening, I hope this is how the Lord always operates. It's not multiple voices, it's just one. So the Holy Spirit might be speaking or giving an impression or a vision, and then the Father will come in and say something. And then a lot of times at the end, the Son, Yeshua, he wants to give me a hug or a kiss on the cheek, which he can do through the Holy Spirit. So it's not like, which sounds like two people speaking at once. It's never two people speaking at once. It's always one. It's the 3 in 1, the great I am, but he's always one at a time coming to speak to my mind. Okay, so this is about my father. I'm just going to call him Bob. So he's talking about how my dad was asking me to stop asking me for any God-condemned thing, B-word. I want to say minus the GD part, hun, for your dad, dear one, but actually that is exactly how he operates on a daily basis, dear one, spewing cuss words left and right in the spiritual realm on pretty much everyone's A-words. Thinks he's a GD saint. Well, dear one, he pretty much is a saint to the demonic realm. does all the crazy shiza we tell you to, B-word, and give credit to the Lord for voices, hun. Multiple voices in his kopf, going off all at once at times, and Dinglebat Bob, thinking it's the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, speaking all at once, to his demented as hell spirit, brain, A-word, more like it. Don't you think so, dear one? He's just a silly, old, stubborn A-word, won't apologize, and never will, dear one, for the awful humiliation and pain he caused ständig to his dear. Was she ever dear to him at all? Even at birth, hun, it's true. He despised his girls, their very sex, and wishing, my son, wishing an error for boys. And there he goes into how my dad did receive a boy, because I do have a half-brother, so he should have been happy to have even just one boy. But he wasn't. Just in general, the Lord's showing me some nuance and some secret things that were never spoken of and never will be in my Southern culture, but he's revealing to me from time to time if my instincts on something were correct. And I did always have that feeling that my dad wished I was a girl. And there's more to it, but it is complicated when someone says they're a Christian and they pretend to be one, and then they're not very nice. So the Lord is exposing and exploring some of those hidden places in people's minds and hearts for me, to help me understand where they are and help me understand that it's okay that I'm not wanting to be in contact with this person. Okay, this is a super tiny excerpt, but it's pretty cool. He's been using this phrase a couple times. I am that I am, the great I am. Or he said also one time, I am that I, what was it? I am the great I am that I am. He also said that too. So I'm considering doing like a painting with that on it for my wall. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share part of this. This was super encouraging to me. Not really many people in real life telling me anything like this. Yeah, I mentioned last time that the church may not let me be a member as long as, things with Max are not resolved. I was honest with the elders of the church what's going on. And then a large group of people was accepted into the church recently, and I wasn't. And I happened to be a part of the meeting. And, I had to leave because I was pretty upset. I was the only one not accepted that day. I didn't understand, but then I thought about it and I realized, there's no infidelity, so people think there's no grounds for a divorce, because that's all I'm saying to them, is that I would just like a divorce from him. So I'm going to share a little bit about this. So this is the attitude in the church. There's a wonderful channel. His name is Patrick something. He does talk about the whole thing that happens in the Christian world when a woman gets a divorce without there being any infidelity to prove. It's like having a double divorce. So you have a divorce from the person you're married to, and then you have a divorce from the church too, because the woman gets judged so harshly. And I have seen it. It was very sad to me. I met a woman here in Vienna who had a similar story to mine, and she's been divorced for over 20 years now, and she goes around talking about it all the time. It's like the most traumatic thing that's happened to her. She was kicked out of one church. She was blamed in a whole region of churches by her husband, who was like higher up in the church, so he had the influence to do this. He contacted a whole group of churches in an area in Salzburg, and near Salzburg, I believe it was, and told them not to have anything to do with her because she was in error. And he was the one who went and married somebody else afterwards, but they didn't care about that part. They were ready to kick her out, and she's remained single. That in itself should be a testimony to everyone that she's fine, but she thinks it's her job every time she goes to a new church to like tell her whole story, and that made me really sad too. Yeah, anyway, I invited her over to speak with her because she spoke in German. I didn't understand everything she was saying. I wanted to hear her story, and then when I understood it, I was like, whoa, this is heavy, and another reason why I can't get stuck in my story, as Chris says on her channel. I have to move on from my own story when it's time. But the Lord was very kind to me and spoke with me. I had just spoken with the elders, and I had just realized what had happened and realized why they might not consider me for membership, even though they wouldn't say it to my face. But I was guessing. And he said, that I'm ready to hide under the covers at home and cry instead of going to church and face the out to get her or at least kick her out of church for wanting to get a divorce from his sick A-word mob. No, babe, and no. They'd be in some serious error if they were to do that to you, hun. But, well, unfortunately, it's exactly what they come right just up to the edge of doing with these women, most congregations he was talking about. Dear one, cutting them off. Break in, hun. It breaks their hearts at times to see you so sad, but, well, aren't you just a tad bit emotional, dear one? Not so dear are they for this one, hun. And don't you think you could just hold on for the rest of your life to this subtle, we don't know if we believe you, it's really there, abuse, dear one? No, babe, and no. It's horrible, terrible reasoning they get on their holy rollin' wheels wagons on about, dudes. What the F are they on about? Wanting to shove me in a let's let her get abused some more and see if she can't get more holy as a result box. And then her marriage will get fixed by itself. And he said, F them, babe, for that terrible thinking if it were to occur. And he said then I would truly be ready to commit suicide by then. Yeah, I didn't even talk to many people about it, but it was sad to me even to perceive that where they were going with their rejecting my initial application for membership. I'll be up again in the fall, but I have to release that to the Lord. But for anyone else who's gone through, I know people on this channel have gone through some really tough situations. So if you have gone through one of those hazy gray divorces, I hope you find that encouraging. It's clear as mud, right? You know what's happening behind closed doors, but nobody else does. I was joking with one of the younger elders. I was like, I can get some recordings for you and show you, but it would be like a court scene. But that's what I feel like it is. I feel like it's court, and I have to prove myself. All right, this is a very short snippet, but very encouraging to me. The Lord said, I can use her story for my glory. And as he spoke those words, I could sense a dark cloud forming, and in the dark cloud I could sense the Lord's anger at people judging me so harshly. So that was pretty neat to perceive that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share this short snippet. I've told y'all before, the Lord is he's a friend, he's a good friend, so wounds from a friend can be trusted. So he said here, it was a nice way he said it. He says, you see how much I love you, dear one. Do not, and I tell you, sweetheart, does not relish hurting you in any way, like you're sick to do so and feel that way, father. No, hun. And he was a terrible father to you in that sense of the word. In that sense of the word. Loved it too much, hun. Hurting you and little Joanne, too, if we all in this room are honest with ourselves. Okay, this is really practical advice, actually. And I still have yet to get going on this one. I do it maybe once a week at the most. And the Lord encouraged me to start drinking tea in the afternoons. That way I don't have to worry about if I have a snack or not. So he said, it'll help you in future times and there's nothing and you ran out of bags of chips to eat. No more for today, hun, truly love you. And you see my mercy operating all over, on, and around you today, babe. And he blew a kiss. So that was how that word ended. Okay, this is also from the May journal. It has to do with the 5G waves. I still do have hats with the metal fabric in it, but I am slowly getting used to the 5G waves. Obviously gets worse in the summertime because the heat conducts the waves much easier through the air. So if you get more headaches in the summer, it could be from the 5G towers. And that's another reason I love the rain. So it says, it's true despite her high sensitivity to it, getting used to the 5G waves surrounding her, this retreat, whatever, hun. So all humanity is falling into the brain waves, fried blood cycles off, completely off, like her hormone drop day prediction. Okay, so yeah, a little bit of TMI. I do circle the day when I think my time in the month will be, and it was really off this time in May. It was, well, for me, it's really off. It was 2 days off. And I was like, whoa, I usually have a 2-day range, and I usually get really depressed right before it starts. So I like to know, okay, the reason I'm sad today is because it's physical, it's not emotional. I was off 2 days that time, and he said, like, the 5G has to do with not only are the brain waves getting off, the blood frequency also is not going well. And then, of course, with women, our cycles are off as well. And he's saying basically partially as a direct result of the 5G waves. So honestly, it makes sense to me. But it's something you can obviously take to the Lord on that for Christians. So it's something to pray about, what the Lord allows you to lie about or not. I have many things I'm not allowed to share anymore to others. So, and then when it comes to a point blank question, yeah, if I look scared or weird, then the person knows they hit the nail on the head. So the Lord has allowed me to kind of work my way around some things. And if you remember, I think this is how the story goes. Jesus was asked point blank if he could stop doing his ministry by one of the kings. I think it was Herod. Yeah, okay, I'm getting it a little bit mixed up, but basically Jesus said, for 2 days I do my ministry, and on the third I will stop, basically. But then there was a little sentence after that. And I think before he said the next sentence, I think those people walked off. And then he's like, but for now I have to do my ministry. Something like that. So the Lord knows how to work his way around things as well. And it could be, borderline argued that Jesus said a lie on that day, because on the third day he was still doing ministry. So here we go. The fear and the rage combine to make you think you need a slick as hell mouth to survive. Too much like hell, hun. And the Bible is quite clear. No liars will enter heaven. You're right, sweetheart. They shouldn't be lying on everyone's A-words. But will take a look at the motives behind those lies in future and see what exactly they were on about. And when it comes to killing you in your respective bad anyway, hun, at that point already, reputation, well, dear one, they were just nails in the coffin at that point to seal the deal of your... Yeah, so I share that to share, like, the Lord will be looking behind people's motives, looking at the heart to see why they do what they do. Remember, to the faithful, he shows himself faithful. To the blameless, he shows himself blameless. To the pure, he shows himself pure. And to the crooked, he shows himself shrewd. God bless.